Hello, I'm Maura Hennigan, your Suffolk County Superior Court Clerk Magistrate for Criminal Business, representing the City of Boston, the communities of Chelsea, Revere, and Winthrop. And it's great to be with you, and we have another nor'easter barreling up the coast, and I'm afraid we're going to be all digging out once again, but it's great to be with you again, and the Patriots are doing terrific, and all is well in our great sports town here. Well, I just want to, before we get underway, thank our sponsor. And our sponsor this month is D'Ambrosio LLP. Their website, www.d'ambrosiоllp.com. Their Boston office, 185 Devonshire Street. They're up on the 10th floor in downtown Boston. Their phone number, 617-720-5657. Their fax number, 617-723-4967. They also have an office on the North Shore, 14 Proctor Avenue in Revere, 02151. And their phone number, 781-284-5657. And their fax number there, 781-284-4967. And we are very grateful for them for sponsoring us this month. Well, we have a great organization that is joining us today, and something very near and dear to my heart, and it's all about running. But what's interesting about running, back on your feet, is that they work with the homeless community, trying to get them back on their feet. And toward that end, we have two great individuals. We have Victor Acosta, who is the program director, and we have Bridget Horne, who is the director of communications and corporate planning. And I want to welcome both of you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, you know, we were talking a little bit, and of course, you know, as unfortunately a former runner, and it's kind of like I was telling you, I go through withdrawal every time I see someone go by. I'm a walker now every single day, but you know, it's really quite a discipline to be a runner, and particularly training for marathons as you do with your organization. But what I'd really like you to talk about is kind of how both of you got involved in this, what is Back on Your Feet, and working with the homeless community, reaching out to them, giving them goals, and helping them really get back on their feet through running. It's very, very inspiring. So let's hear all about it.
Well, again, thank you for having us. And Back on My Feet is a very unusual program. The way that, and I'll let Bridget go after this, the way I was connected to it was I've been a marathoner for, I guess, for the past 20, 25 years. I've run 14 Bostons in a row, 25 marathons, and I absolutely love the sport. I know what it did for my life. It definitely requires dedication, and you as a runner know that as well. There is dedication, but once a little bit of dedication to it, the return on investment is enormous. And when I saw that Back on My Feet was coming to Boston, I'd heard about it and read about it everywhere. I immediately sought out how can I get connected to the organization. And one thing led to another, and here I am. It connected all my loves, working with my community and helping people get back on their feet.
That is wonderful. So Bridget, how did you get involved? We were talking a little bit. We have a common link in having family and having been from Philadelphia. My sister's down there now. So tell us how you got involved and what you are doing in your capacity here now.
Right. Well, like Victor, I've sort of been a runner for as long as I can remember. And that's actually how I was first introduced to this community of Back on My Feet, because that's really what it is. I was running a race, and I saw them, and they all had their Back on My Feet shirts on, and I witnessed the Serenity Prayer, which is before every run and every race, we all gather around, put our arms around each other, and say the Serenity Prayer. And as a runner, I was just sort of blown away at the community aspect, at the camaraderie. And I thought to myself, I have to be a part of this. So the race was on a Sunday. By Monday, I was a volunteer. And a year and a half, 2 years later, here I am working for them, which is sort of a dream come true. Like Vic, it sort of takes everything that I've ever loved most, running, my community, work, and puts it together.
Wow. It is, you know, it's really amazing. And I think a lot of us, when we think of the homeless community, and again, we were talking a little before the show, and you know, when people think of homeless, in many instances, they think of people who are down on their luck, people who are out in the street, panhandling. and it really is only a small percentage of the homeless population. But I think what has been very, very difficult for so many in the homeless population, no matter why they are there, is really trying to lift up their spirit and trying to get back on track. And knowing personally about the discipline involved in running and the rewards and just, there are so many, to really tie that in with the homeless community, it's very inspiring. And I'm sure it's been very rewarding for you as well as for them. So talk a little bit about Back on Your Feet, how many chapters you have, where they're located, and how Boston fits into this.
Sure. Well, right now we have 5 chapters. We were founded in Philadelphia in 2007 by Ann Malum. Since then, we've grown to Baltimore, D.C., Boston, Chicago, soon to be Dallas and Indianapolis. Am I missing anyone there?
No, you got it.
Yeah, okay. And yeah, so it's a very fast growth model. It's impressive. It's sort of one of those things where there's such a great need, unfortunately and fortunately for us. Yeah,
So, when I think of Boston, and we have a number of wonderful organizations that work with the homeless community, Shelter for Homeless Veterans, so many out there, St. Francis House, what ones are you affiliated with, and how do you go about really recruiting people from the homeless community to participate in this? Remember when I first started running, and I didn't start running till I turned 40, all my friends were runners, I felt left out. And I started running from lamppost to lamppost, could not run at all. But I ran a marathon later that year, but I know the huge commitment involved in doing something like this. So, I didn't have some of the struggles that so many of homeless people have. So how do you motivate them, and how do you get them engaged and interested in this?
Sure. We started out with 3 shelters here, and going to each shelter with this kind of model was both very easy and also quite challenging, because you don't normally associate running with the homeless or as a means of helping our folks in our community who are homeless. So we started out with St. Francis House, Hope House, and the Boston Rescue Mission, 3 amazing facilities in our town that really do work and help the homeless in our community through several ways. Either through emergency shelter, education, job placement, training, and other programs, as well as providing warm meals. So we enter the facilities, and we work with the shelter directors and tell them about Back on My Feet. And essentially, it's a program that brings a community to the shelter. Not that there isn't one already that exists, but bringing a running community means bringing a very different type of friendship, a co-commitment. You asked, how do they get so dedicated? I don't think they get so dedicated so quickly to the running. Getting dedicated to running is a hard thing, but you get dedicated to the friendships that develop.
That's right, those bonds that you're building.
Yes, exactly. And so what they're exposed to from 5:30 in the morning until 7 when the runs take place is a community that's accepting of them, that only sees them in one way, and that is as fellow runners or walkers. We have lots of walkers as well. You said something from lamppost to lamppost, and I think that's the perfect analogy. We get them to 1 mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, ever so slowly. We get people who were in the past were runners, and something happened in their lives, and they wound up in the situation that they're in. And then we have folks that have been on the couch their entire lives. So we go to the shelters, we make this presentation, which usually is a lot of fun because people just, it's a very unusual concept.
They probably look at you like, yeah, you're kidding me, right?
Yes, exactly.
We get that a
Again,
lot.
like me run a marathon or me be a runner, no matter what your situation in life. I think a lot of people say, oh yeah, I see people out there, I could never do that.
Yes, exactly. But you know what? It is the folks that are really thinking about it and saying, hey, this just doesn't work in my mind. Those are the curious ones that wind up coming to the presentation and then the orientation, and then 250 miles later are getting ready for a marathon.
Those are some of certainly our greatest triumphs that even personally I've witnessed, and I've been so lucky to witness, is you take one person who's never run a day in their life, and all of a sudden they're training for a marathon. That's spectacular. And we sort of operate on the model of, if you can run 1 mile, you can do anything. You take someone who's never done that before, who's never even comprehended doing that before, and they realize that all these other doors are also open for them simply by achieving that.
Right, it means everything is possible.
Exactly.
And no matter how, some people just say, I just can't imagine being able to run and keep going. You know, I keep thinking, I'm going to have to stop. But again, it's something that you build step by step by step. Much like trying to get back on your feet in your life, you do it step by step by step, but with support. And providing that support, it's just really amazing and it must be amazing to watch that.
It is, and what's amazing is we're truly a program that works with the homeless. We're a charity, we're a nonprofit, we're a well-established one, and we've come to be well-respected over the last 6-7 months in the Boston area. But what's interesting about Back on My Feet is these folks have to work so hard to earn everything they get from Back on My Feet. We provide shoes, all the clothing, gloves, caps, to run, and when their shoes wear out, we replace their shoes. Right. But we always tell them everything is earned. To be out there at 5:30 in the morning, 3 days a week.
Just to get up there and be out there at 5:30 in the morning, that's an accomplishment in yourself, because you're trying to maybe put structure into a life that maybe hasn't had a lot of structure.
Exactly. And they can see the future. For example, we're getting ready for the Providence Marathon. That's a point in their future they've never really thought about before. And one of the most important parts of Back on My Feet is that after 30 days of showing 90% attendance, we bring them into what we call our Next Steps program, which is where we start connecting them with our service providers for employment, education, sustainable housing, and they start to earn grants toward that, as long as they keep showing that dedication. So they're seeing that putting in this incredible amount of hard work changes everything. But again, that's important, but the most important aspect is the community that's brought. Bridget runs with Hope House, which is literally just down the street, and their experiences there are amazing. It's an amazing facility, and the athletes there are so dedicated and work so hard to where they want to go. And everybody, the volunteers, we like to say we're a program for the homeless. We're as much a program for volunteer runners who want to give of themselves. And we have so many wonderful opportunities in our city, charities that run many marathons and raise a lot of money. And runners want to give in other ways as well. So coming to run with Back on My Feet, just by being themselves, both the good and the bad of who we are.
Right. So for many of our viewers out there who are runners or want to be a runner or want to be able to reach out and help somebody, particularly our homeless community, you know, this really is a great opportunity for them that, you know, who would have thought? Who would have thought that there was this kind of a linkage? And I can only imagine it's just so rewarding to, you know, I know how I felt when I was progressing, but to think that you're helping someone else progress and you're helping them realize some goals and objectives and dreams and helping them turn their life around. And at the same time, you know, being physically fit, you know, thinking about nutrition and all the things that go along with being a runner. You can't run unless you put fuel in your body, and so they're thinking within the community as well as you are within the homeless community. You know, what are the right kind of foods, you know, teaching them about nutrition and things of that nature, which you don't even think about those things if you're just trying to figure out, you know, how am I going to survive every day? So you're really introducing people to a whole new world and a whole new life, which must be just so rewarding.
Oh, it certainly is, yeah. That's one of the things, too, about Back on My Feet is people think they sort of have, and myself included, I thought I had an understanding of what homelessness was in these different cities, and the more entrenched you become in this Back on My Feet experience, the more I personally realized that it blew everything away that I had thought I knew, and it's amazing, and I'm very proud to see that same realization and that sort of enlightenment come to our volunteers. And you don't have to be just a runner to volunteer with us. There's so many ways to get involved.
That's what I was going to say. I bet a lot of viewers out there who are not runners
we need walkers.
Want to be
Walkers
involved.
Are wonderful.
So how can runners, walkers, or everyone else, how can they be involved? How can they be helpful? What are things they can do?
Right. Well, if you are a runner, you can, of course, come out with us. We run every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 5:30 and 5:45 are our start times from those 5 distinct Boston shelters that we mentioned. That, again, that's St.